Okay, good morning, everyone. The time is now 10:05 a.m. on Wednesday, February 12th, 2025, and I'd like to call this Community Recognition Review Advisory Committee meeting to order. Before we begin, our first order of business is the appointment of committee vice chair. The chair is the mayor, but he's unable to join us today, so we will be, of course, appointing the vice chair who will be chairing the meetings in the mayor's absence. So nominations are open for the position of the vice chair for the Community Recognition Review Advisory Committee for a 2-year term, so 2025 and 2026. Are there any nominations? We can always and volunteers can nominate themselves as well. So sorry, Diane, you had
Patricia Wallace.
Patricia Wallace. Okay, to vice chair. Anyone else? Any other names?
No.
Anne. No, I'm just saying.
Sorry,
Give
Arif and
choices.
Fiona, did you have anything to add to that?
No.
Okay, all right, perfect. Okay, so are there any further nominations? Nope, okay, the nominations are now closed. So can I get a mover and a seconder to appoint Patricia as the 2025-2026 chair? Vice chair for this committee? Okay, I've got Diane, Joanne, all those in favor? Raise your
Aye.
hands or speak into the microphone, please. Arif and
Yes.
Fiona, if you don't have a camera on, sorry, you're gonna have to speak into the microphone.
Yes, I did. I said.
Oh, sorry. Okay, perfect.
Yes.
All right, any opposed? Perfect, okay, that carries. So I will hand this over to you. We'll start with the land acknowledgement.
Okay, if it's okay, Madam Clerk, if I move to the
Yep,
chair's chair,
absolutely.
then I can see Arif and Fiona when their hand goes up or whatever. So
Absolutely.
that's okay, I will.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at remembering to look in that direction. There we go. Good morning. The town of Aurora acknowledges that the Anishinaabe lands on which we live and work are the traditional and treaty territory of the Chippewas of Georgina, as well as many other nations whose presence here continues to this day. As a close First Nation community to Aurora, we recognize the special relationship that Chippewas have with the lands and waters of this territory. They are the water protectors and environmental stewards of these lands, and as a municipality, we join them in these responsibilities. We further acknowledge that Aurora is part of the treaty lands of the Mississaugas and Chippewas, recognized through Treaty 13, as well as the Williams Treaty of 1923. A shared understanding of how the rich cultural heritage that has existed for centuries and how our collective past brought us to where we are today will help us walk together into a better future. So may I please have a motion to approve the agenda as circulated by Legislative Services? Diane, seconded by Joanne. Any questions or comments on the agenda? Call the vote. All in favor? Aye.
Yes.
Fiona? Opposed? Carried. Declarations of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest?
No.
No.
Hearing none. Thank you. Proceed with the minutes. The Community Recognition Review Advisory Committee minutes of September 12th, 2024. May I please have a motion to receive the meeting minutes of September 12th, 2024?
Fiona.
Fiona is a mover, seconded by Diane. Any questions or comments on the minutes? Calling the vote, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? That carries. We have no delegations today. Matters of consideration. Roundtable discussion. Review of the evaluation process. May I have a mover and a seconder to put the item on the floor for discussion? Mover. Diane.
Fiona.
Seconder Joanne.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Fiona.
That's
Joanne,
okay.
got her name in there first.
It's okay.
Okay, number one, that the Community Recognition Review Advisory Committee comments regarding the review of the evaluation process be received and referred to staff for consideration and further action as appropriate. Shelley Ware will provide us with an introduction.
Thank you, Vice Chair. So through you, I have provided a copy of this year's nomination form, which is currently in wide circulation as well as on our webpage, because people can apply online. So the evaluation form describes each award criteria that the committee will be evaluating at our next meeting, I believe in April 9th or the 12th. So I wanted to have a chance to make sure you had a copy of the nomination form to become familiar with it. But I also wanted to have a few minutes to prepare you at this time for the selection meeting in April. Last year in 2024, we introduced for the first time an evaluation matrix. So the matrix has been provided in hard copy at this meeting, and Arif and Fiona have a draft version of it. I believe everyone here last year, except for Arif, had used the matrix. So I did want to take a second to briefly go over each of the pages just to see if there's any questions, but also to clarify that a few days or a week prior to the April meeting, all the nomination forms will be emailed and provided to everyone, as well as these matrices. And then when everyone comes to the meeting in April, it would be really helpful if everyone has their matrices filled out. And then that will just further the discussions at that meeting. So I wanted to open this up if there's any questions at this stage. I know for Arif, this would be your first time having eyes on this.
Yes, that's true.
So just two things. First, I want to make sure I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Arif or Arif?
Both are good, Shelley. No worries.
It's okay, very good. And secondly, just to reiterate Shelley's thing, we got a little bit bogged down last year because I don't think we all knew that we needed to put that work in ahead of time. So yes, when we come to the selection meeting, you should already have done your matrix. Don't wait till you get here to do it, right?
Preferably.
Yep, that sounds good to me.
And through you, Vice Chair, I would maybe estimate or guesstimate setting aside 3 to 4 hours to review all the nomination forms for all the, depends how big the intake is this year. So it does require big time commitment prior to coming to that meeting. And then at that meeting, I'll be databasing all the values. And even though we'll have a weighted score, it's still open for discussion and further dialogue until a winner is and an alternate is chosen.
And just as a reminder, that date's already been scheduled and it is April 9th for your calendars. And starting at 10 o'clock.
Yes. So through you, Vice Chair, could we maybe just have 5 minutes now just to do a silent review?
Has everybody had a chance to look over that?
Yes.
I know it's a lot of stuff, especially for Reef. Most of us have seen most of this last year and the year before. Anybody have any questions of Shelley?
No, looks good to me.
I do have a question, as you may have guessed, I always have a question. I want to refer to what is now called the Older Adult Award, previously the Senior Award. And we did change this from last year, and I'm rereading it now for the first time in quite a while. And so we want, I want to make sure I clarify that older adults 55 years and over are welcome to be nominated for any of the other awards, including the Older Adult Award, correct?
Correct, except for the youth.
Except for the youth, yes. But it also appears that the Older Adult Award has a greater criteria than any of the other awards. In other words, they have to have volunteered in several fields. And the number of years is considered here where it's not in any, it's not at least noted in any other field. Is that correct?
Yes, and some of those changes were based from collective discussion from the 2023 Community Recognition Awards process. And then I believe in 2024, it was further fine-tuned a bit more so. But yes, that one, there is more scope on that.
So for us, that will be important to remember when we come to the matrix. That we ensure that those conditions are met, because we're not used to doing that. That's all. I just want to point that out.
I noticed on the older volunteer award is that it doesn't list an age. And should it, or is it being left like that?
In
No, what
the-
I'm meaning it on here.
That's just the matrices.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's something somebody might refer to as they're going through it. And it's not just at the top, that just thinking,
Going through the matrix, you would have to have both documents with you.
yeah,
To
okay.
do the matrix, you have to continually refer
Okay, I
back.
just thought
to
if
the
somebody was
award
looking, I
description.
just thought if somebody's looking at it, it wasn't there, and it's same with the youth one, then it wouldn't have an age either, so.
So through your vice chair, any nominations that you receive, they will have been vetted and scrutinized through our team first to verify that they, yeah.
Any other comments on that or any other things in these two documents? Diane?
It looks good and it worked very well last year, so I think it will work.
Fiona?
No, not at the moment, thank you.
Arif?
No, that looks good to me. Just a quick comment or question. Are the non-profits are also qualify under this category?
Are you speaking of nonprofit organizations?
Yes.
Shall I answer that?
Through your vice chair, so yes,
Okay.
but they could qualify based on what they're being nominated for. So for instance, a nonprofit could be nominated for the Green Award if their efforts fall within that category. A nonprofit could also be nominated for the Community Leadership Award if they meet that criteria. They could also be nominated for the Arts and Culture Award, the Community Safety Award, the Inclusivity Award. I believe that's all.
Perfect. That sounds
So it
good.
come down to the scope of why the nominator is inviting them, which would be help to curtail which category it's most fitting.
Nice. Excellent. Thank you.
If at any point anyone has any difficulty or finds themselves confused, and I'm sorry to point you out, Arif, but you're the only one who hasn't been through this process anymore. I'm sure Shelley would be happy to coach you through it, or any other committee member. You could reach out to any one of us for a chat. Any further comments? Okay. So, I guess we're voting to accept these documents.
So yes, Madam Chair, you're voting to refer, so any comments, suggestions, to refer to staff to take any action appropriate. So what you read initially, what you read, what we're voting on. That's the motion on the floor. Yeah.
So, we're gonna vote on sending these comments to staff for consideration and further action as appropriate. As I hear no further comments, all in favor?
Do.
Yeah, me too.
That carries. Okay, so we're gonna have a roundtable discussion. May I have a mover and a seconder to put the item on the floor for discussion for the 2025 awards ceremony? The two at the table, Diane and Joanne. So the issue is that the Community Recognition Review Advisory Committee comments regarding the 2025 awards ceremony be received and referred to staff for consideration and further action as appropriate. Over to Shelley.
Through you, Vice Chair, I'll just take a few minutes to describe the actual ceremony that evening, because I see it as three components. There's the pre-ceremony, ceremony, and post-ceremony. The pre-ceremony is an invite-only experience, which is for former Citizens of the Year. It's a small but mighty group. That happens with food, with beverages prior to the ceremony. Then the actual ceremony takes place in the council chambers, because the awards are actually presented by town council. And each award recipient will be called up to receive, photo taken, and then post ceremony is a full reception for winners, nominators, and guests. Still an invite scenario, but will also be live streamed to ensure that everyone in the community can view it. Previously, in the last 2 to 3 years, the food that we've provided has been on a concept of a taste of Aurora, where we try to engage 6 or 7 different restaurants to provide different foods in trying to support local business, but also because they're very good to make that. So with this year moving forward, last year's comments at this committee was, and I wrote in capital letters, they want it to be more fun. So having said that, I wanted to open up if people had any fresh ideas for staff to look into. We will be providing entertainment prior to the ceremony, as well as at the reception. There will be a food component, there will be a licensed beverage component, and then the actual ceremony itself. There's video engagement, shorter speeches and intros, but still ensuring that recognition is expressed. Any suggestions, comments, questions?
Shelley,
Go ahead, Fiona.
thank you. Shelley, do you have any of the suggestions we made last meeting? I think it was in Jamaica on that meeting when we were speaking about it, as a refresher of what we have already said?
I don't have those fine notes with me now. The summary of it, though, we went through every single element of the evening, but the consensus was even to make the speeches shorter, but to provide more of a pizzazz or more of a fun component as people are being recognized for the post-ceremony reception.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that, actually, I think Fiona and I were really big on having a a theme song, a musical component.
Yeah.
That could both go through the application, the communications for the application process. In other words, a hook that's going to, when people hear that music, they'll go, oh, the Community Recognition Awards, something that will stay with the event year after year so that they can remember it. And then that music again played at the event, or part of a something. Is that your recollection, Fiona?
Yes.
So through you, Vice Chair, that has not been done. It has to be an original compositioned music due to SOCAN and in tandem rights. So we could reach out to, I don't know if I should list them. We could reach out to some community musicians to see if we could get an original music composition for this, but it wouldn't be included in the recruitment process. But perhaps if timing lines up, it is used and revealed at the ceremony.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because that was a big thing last year that we were having such, well, not such, but some difficulty getting nominations, and we wanted to pizzazz up the nomination process. So, you know, I've been trying to think of a song that's in the public domain that we can use. I haven't come up with anything, but
So there are lots of free songs out there. And if the town as a corporation might not be able to do it, but committees can, as a person for myself, we can engage, and this is where we bring in, because that's something that we have to improve. This is where we can incorporate outside corporation who can have that access to make a music and say, hey, do you know it's the nomination, nominate something. So ABC can create a post and have music to go with it. Aurora Cultural Center can decide if they're participating and do a music around their piece. So many ways it can be done. So maybe it's a way to find out if, you know, the library can collaborate and put a music into their post, and keep it fun and engaging, as each of us are being accountable to promote and encourage nomination, and do for our call out to the people that may be following our platform. So in an interim, that might be something that different places and people can be creative about.
those are all good ideas, Fiona. Thank you.
Mhm.
Can I just, before I turn it to you, Shelley, say outside of what Fiona has said as far as what we can do for this year, could I request, if the committee agrees, that we work on for next year, electrifying, excitement-defying the nomination process? And I know, well, the mayor's videos on events are really popular. And it seems to me like there's something that he could do, like for the Haunted Forest. People were laughing at that and it engaged them. And I'm wondering if there's something, and it doesn't have to be the mayor, but some kind of video that could, when you launch the nominations, you launch it with a boom. And I wondered if we could put that on the agenda for the meeting after the next one to work on for 2025.
So through you, if I may go again, sorry, unless somebody's hand was up that I missed.
Sorry?
As somebody's hand, as somebody else's hand was up, she said.
Oh,
She was next. Yeah.
No?
yes,
can
you
go?
Go now, Fiona, sorry.
No, that's okay. So to your point, into a buzz, maybe we can also get, because a video can be created where you get previous recipients coming and doing, you know, something silly or fun in showing that joy and getting the spirit of excitement about what that award meant to them, or, you know, something really cute can be done to prepare a quick video that is still under 2 minutes or under 1 minute. to promote. So that's something you can consider if you can get a few recipients who are willing, award recipients who are willing to say, hey, we want to do a buzz. Can you come in with a cute, funny skit, something that is upbeat and creative? Maybe they put on a costume. I don't know. But it's maybe something like that we can find out if we can incorporate in the buzz that you're looking for.
Okay, thank you. I think that's a good idea. We'll note it down. But I think I've led us off topic here, and I'll go back to Shelley to talk about what we want to do at this year's. So I think if, could that be noted somewhere, Shelley, what Fiona has just said for the meeting after next for the agenda?
Through you, Vice Chair, the next meeting is the selection meeting.
Yes.
This year's nominations have been launched. We do a video with the mayor annually. So I don't have an exact date when that's being done. And each year for social media, because we also go back to the town's communication standards and guidelines, we focus on Facebook and Instagram stories, which have to be 25 seconds or less. And we do reach out to each of the recipients to try to entice them to want to participate to make a video. We have had a couple in the past, but not all of them have. But that is still part of the social media strategy. The town is very much into stories. Stories have far more views than posts, exponentially more. Like if you see a social media story, it could have 793 views. And when you look at a post, it might only have engagement of perhaps 12 likes, or that engagement kind of drops off. So we focus on, and we have plans to do 1 to 2 stories per week. Again, based on how busy the channels are, 1 week it might only be 1, but with 9 different categories, the plan is to have a story per category that's talking specifically about arts and culture or specifically about greening.
Okay. Hey, anybody have any comments or suggestions on the actual ceremony that it would like to see changed or bumped up this year?
Are you talking about like when someone is going up? Sorry, Arif, go ahead. I think I saw you on mute.
No, thank you, Fiona. I have a comment on the promoting the nomination event. I heard that we are using the Instagram and Facebook, which are the good tools. I would suggest to use LinkedIn or Twitter. That is another popular tools to spread the word in the community. So then we have the more participants, like more awareness in the community, so people know that this is something going on, so they can nominate more people. Just a comment.
Thank you, Arif. Shelley?
Through you, Vice Chair. I believe the town right now is not doing promotions through LinkedIn. I will double check with our communications team because they're the experts there that would know right away. With regards to Twitter or X, our posts, because they don't do stories, we're limited to 1 post every other week with that one. So that only gives us approximately 5 posts for the entire campaign for X or Twitter. There'll be a lot more visible promotion through Facebook and Instagram, primarily because of that story feature.
No, that's really great. Thank you, Shelly, for that. Other option, I know the paper media. We have the Neighbor magazine. I know they publish 10,000 copies in Aurora Newmarket. So that's another opportunity to advertise the event. And also, I noticed the town has a screen, LED screens. So maybe that's another opportunity to spread the word.
Shelley?
Through you, Vice Chair. I hope you can hear me, Arif.
Yeah.
We are doing notice board ads three of them, February 27th, March 13th, and 27th. And then the list of winners is Thursday, June 5th. We're also doing, the videos start the beginning of March. We're also doing mobile signs, which actually get turned over on Tuesday, February 18th, weather permitting, could be the 18th or the 19th. We are doing pitch stories with Newmarket Today and the Auroran for February and March. Social media is to start next week. The media release was sent out. And we are doing pylon signs. That is what you were referring to, Arif, with the digital signs. They're called pylons. As well, we've put the ad into community e-blast through the Chamber of Commerce, Aurora Matters, Inside Aurora, YorkRegion.ca, Experience York Region, Central Counties, Region 105.9, and Neighbor Media. So far, that's the web that has been cast in that area. I believe between 110 and 120 organizations have already had a personal contact from our team. And we're in the process right now of doing phone follow-ups, because not everyone sees an email, or you think, oh, I've got lots of time to nominate, and this is the nudge and the push to remind you of that. So the phone follow-ups are starting this week. And so far we have 11 nominations in, but that's amongst different categories. One category might only have one nomination right now, one might have two. So we've really put a lot of emphasis in focusing on past nominators, winners, as well as our staple community organizations. And then when we reach out to them, we're also saying, don't just think of your organization. Like if you have a board of directors, we want to convey to them that them as individuals might also want to be a nominator, not just with the identity of the organization that we've approached them under.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thank you.
That's a lot to cover. So congratulations on your team for covering all that. I don't even think I knew all that.
Through you, Vice Chair. So we delegate. So we have what's called a CRA solicitation chart. So we delegate based on it's a big spreadsheet. And then that way we actually, on the column, we actually put in the date every time they were emailed, every time we phoned, whether it was a voicemail and comments back. So we keep a good paper record of efforts.
Good. Excellent.
Nice.
So getting back to the actual ceremony. Oh, Fiona, oh no, you're just liking that, right?
Mm-hmm. But I still have something to say about the ceremony.
Okay, thank you. The actual ceremony, is there anything that you would change there that hasn't already been discussed? Like, I'm just gonna throw some topics out that maybe they don't need changing. Lighting, reception, music, who gets invited? And as a matter of fact, attendance last year was really low. And I have to wonder two things. Was that because the Citizen of the Year was out of the country and normally the chambers would have been filled with his or her family and friends? Or was it because the ceremony is invitation only? Shelley, can you speak to that?
So through you, Vice Chair, the ceremony is invitation only. It is winners and nominators. And Patricia did make a good observation, but even if the Citizen of the Year is there, it's usually about 10 more people, maybe. Like not a significant change in the numbers. But by invite only goes back to the liquor license, because it's not an open public event. It's an invite only. And also the other benefits of that, and this was a committee decision made years and years ago. I can't even quantify what year that was. We want the seats first filled by winners and nominators, versus if it were to get too big, which is why with technology now, we're able to live stream it, keep that video footprint in archives and available. So it is rather a small and fitting group. Still gets warm in those chambers though, with the numbers that we do have.
That's true. The only thing the smaller number doesn't build excitement. And
Yes.
then when it's viewed online, it looks like there's not much interest there because there's not enough, it's not full enough to create an excitement. And there are ways around that, like, I'm not big on balloons, but maybe you put a balloon person in between people to make the seats look full, or just make it look full. I'm sorry.
But if people realize that people are being invited, I don't think you can say that you're packing the place anyway, like.
Yeah.
I had a suggestion, when you were talking about entertainment and things like that. I find that within the community where I work and things I do, that we're losing a lot of volunteers. And the younger people aren't in there as much as they used to be, to me anyway. But I was wondering if we could include, like, I'm in the seniors choir in Newmarket, and we're very involved with the Huron Heights School of Music. And they have an a cappella group, and they come down and sing at our concerts. They're incredible, absolutely incredible. They do anything. And but I was going to say, if there's some group in Aurora that would be willing to, or somebody knew about, that break it up in sections and have them do things at different times, or whatever times you want, before the ceremonies, after the ceremonies, or get different groups to come and support them, to encourage them to come back and help out at a later time.
Who does? Fiona?
Yes, thank you. So 2 questions, one probably too late, but I'll ask anyway. Does the ceremony has to take place in the chamber?
Good question.
Through you,
Because,
Vice Chair.
Go ahead, Shelley. Then I'll ask the next part.
Through you, Vice Chair. Historically, it has been in the chamber. There was 1 or 2 years, probably over 10 years ago, that it was held at the senior center. I can't remember why. But with with them being town awards presented by town council, some have viewed it as being the privilege of being recognized in the chambers. Like, it's the significance of the chambers, which is why it has always been there. For this year, it would have to remain in the chambers. However, if the committee wanted to put forward discussion for 2026, we would have to do a memo to council.
You had a follow-up question, Fiona?
Yeah, so I think we should definitely do that part that you just said about putting a memo to council, because the position of those seats don't give people opportunity to feel vibey unless you really get them vibey. And as well as so wide. So as you said, if you're talking about making people the energy feel more cohesive, then that space is so wide you don't get to feel that. So that's something we should think of. But have you considered even getting like an indigenous, I don't know, anybody that does even drumming or something that can play something as the person's name called up with some excitement, if we might have to clean it up, but some confetti or something coming down, or as they're going up, or I don't know, is there like a kind of smoke machine start to go out as they're walking up?
You got a broom? Because the town would want you maintenance would want you to help.
That's okay. That's why we're a
Not a bad
committee. We can
vacuum.
stay back and clean up.
So through your Vice Chair, love the enthusiasm on what did she say, smokes?
Confetti.
No, the smoke.
Yeah, smoke,
Confetti.
confetti, a
indigenous.
drummer that go, beating a drum as they go up, whatever.
Oh, for some reason I thought you said the smoke. I was gonna say, yep, that's great enthusiasm, but not gonna happen. We could look at doing a more lively, like, intro, perhaps to the announcement of the Citizen of the Year. The only thing that would make me just want to pause and relook at, if we did like a drumming intro, is we're looking at about 29 to 35 awards. That by the time we did 5 or 6, it might not be what you were thinking. But I don't know, you've all been to the
Yeah, it could be
ceremony.
something that you're playing, even a music that going up for each person that they love. If we send a person and say, "What's your favorite music?" What love got to do? And that person is going up, they know it's their music and it's something they love. So it can add a little bit personality to their flavor. So it doesn't really have to be drumming because yeah, that can get a little bit whatever. But maybe they can put the music and you play just the chorus of that because they're coming up and they're dancing up to their favorite music.
Thank you, Fiona. Just to follow up on that, and I agree that that gap where all the photographers are doing their things and there's getting more, it seems to more and more each year, because we know that there's at least 3, and generally if there's a family member, there's 4 photographers. They're all doing their thing. Even at the minimum, if the same song or the same music is playing for that 15, 20, 30 seconds during that part, it's not dead air, as they say in radio. It's just fills it a little bit better, and people will feel free to talk a little bit more because there's the background of music. And that shouldn't be that hard to do. I mean, and maybe we can build on that for next year. But it seems just even putting something in that gap, it would probably take another technician or somebody to.
To be a filler while they're doing those
Filler.
things, yeah.
Okay,
So anybody else have any suggestions?
Keep it going.
Seating. Seating, we had an issue, I think Elaine and I were to tell people where to sit. Did we change that last year?
I don't think, through you, Vice Chair, I don't think so. We want winners closer forward versus nominators. But we don't break you up, but we want you kind of easily to come out versus along, excuse me, as you get out down to the pew.
The problem was the winners wanted to sit with their nominators and their families, and there was a bit of I felt like we were insulting people. They're like, oh, well, I nominated her, shouldn't I be able to? So I wasn't comfortable with that, and it's almost like if there's a message to where do I sit? If you're a winner, please sit towards the end of a row. Maybe,
So you're accessible.
yeah,
Yeah.
would be the only thing that we should say, and then they can they're grown-ups, they'll figure it
Sometimes they're worse than the kids. I mean, you know.
out. Okay, anything else? You want to talk about food? Or not? Does anybody want to talk about the food?
You want to do that already?
Fiona?
Are you able to just put reserve for winners for recipients?
Sorry, say that again, please. I couldn't hear you.
I thought you were asking about the seating. Are you able to just put reserve for recipients so the recipients so that they know only recipients of the awards can sit there?
Shelley?
Through you, Vice Chair, we could do that, but then we'd be choosing like you're gonna sit on the left, but you're gonna sit on, it may be harder from a defendability perspective, like why did we put you on a certain section, but someone else on another section? I think
There's no
for this
name.
year,
There wouldn't be no name. It's either you can put like a ribbon, you know, like you have a graduation ribbon and you put it over those and it's like a reserve. So they take wherever they can sit, but we know only people who are recipients can pick their seat and sit in that line. So it doesn't have to have a name where somebody said, why did she put me at the end or the middle?
oh, I see what she's saying.
Go anywhere.
Okay, thank you, Fiona. So to food. Does anybody want to discuss the food? Meaning leave it as it is, do something different? More, less?
Leave it as it was. In my opinion, it was great. Great variety. Why change it?
Anybody else? There you go. Shelley, do you have any comments on that you wanted to change it this year?
Through you, Vice Chair, second floor looks very different now. with the Aurora Cultural Center moving back to their home at 22 Church Street. So this does give us a lot more space that we can look at making the space a lot more celebratory and to put that buzz or that emphasis into it. So when you come up, it is a party. We'll have more so space because we won't be respectfully moving around beautiful displays, which warranted respect. We have a lot more open space that I think we could definitely do a better job this year in making the reception a place that you don't want to leave. So we ask you to.
I think that sounds great.
When the choice is made of getting the food, like what you ever did in the past, is there a particular reason for it, or are we getting people to donate it, or are we getting people to have a mixture of different kinds of foods so that, you know, we see that within the community?
Through you, Vice Chair, admittedly, getting food on a Monday night is a success that we've gotten this far. Many restaurants are closed on Monday. Many are doing favors by going in to cook a certain dish. And we pay for all of it. Like, we're supporting small business, so it's not like we're expecting you to go in and donate. It's harder than you think for that because it's a Monday. But I think we've done well so far, and we've tried, like, we wouldn't want to have 5 different like Asian cuisine dishes. Like, we tried to really just change it amongst different flavor options. Just so again, that there's a bit more variety there. But part of it will come down to having a restaurant that has food available.
But does it go out to them as ahead of time saying, would you be willing to do this? And like, do they answer back to it? I mean, that's what I'm saying is, are we getting people to sort of say, oh yeah, I'd like to do that at a town function or something, you know? And just wondered if you.
Through you, Vice Chair. Out of 10 calls, 2 will call back. It's harder, and then sometimes you're talking to part-time staff, they don't get the message to the manager. So like we do with the solicitation chart, we take predominant business and we subdivide and conquer in terms of how we can get a hold of the right person, which is why sometimes we've had the same restaurant 2 years in a row, because they're keen to come back for it.
Well, good luck. I'm sure you'll.
Well, I offered before to come and help and do any phoning you wanted to do, and I've offered that many times, so. If you
So-
want me to do anything, just tell me.
Thank you.
I'm around. I'm around.
Okay. I have a question. And I don't know if you consider this part of the ceremony, the event night or not, or maybe it's not our committee. The event held ahead of time that is specifically for former citizens of the year. Can I ask how well attended that is?
Through you, Vice Chair. So it's hard to answer that question because the list is small to begin with.
Yes.
And then actually the list of those that reside even within driving proximity is getting smaller. So from one perspective, it is a small attended group. But from another perspective, there's only one winner each year. It's not like we're adding 10 to that group. So it is, and the second floor is a huge space. So I think with the smaller number that attend, I think it looks even smaller optically. So I think there's about 25 to 29 that may attend, and that's a big floor.
With the guest.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm surprised there's as many as that even, to be honest.
I think because we plan for food for about 25, and then of course you just do a bit more in the just in case scenario.
It's been I found it a good turnout when I've been there. When people mix.
As long as people are enjoying it and, you know, there's enough of a turnout. I mean, I've only been the once as the wife of a one. But But you two go.
Yes, and each recipient can bring a guest,
Yes,
Oh,
Or-
that's true.
yeah,
spouse.
yeah, well, whoever, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm just asking if it's still worth doing. That was all.
A couple of people that I came with, that I brought was my husband's past, and they were really impressed. You know, they went away talking about the fact that they've been here, you know, so. It's got passed on. So,
I only have one last comment and it is for you, Shelley. What is your expectation of the committee members for that evening?
Through you, Vice Chair. So through the committee members, it would be nice if we had greeters to welcome the nominees and nominators into the chambers. After that, it would be nice to help bring people together for the final photo, because the end is awkward and we're trying to pull people together. But after that, for the committee members to enjoy themselves upstairs,
Okay.
not be focused on saving us with food trays, but to be yes,
Yeah,
for the
don't ask
job
me
you
to
did.
serve food. I consider this for the committee members a must attend. It's part of. Would you agree with that, or are you not saying that?
I think it would, through you, Vice Chair, I think it would be ideal if the committee attended. Because the committee did a very, very hard job to get to this stage. I do know that in greeting the guests, staff are stretched thin because we're still arranging counsel from upstairs to come downstairs. It's that awkward time. And then some guests arrive early, and then some people are going to the chambers and then weren't even greeted by anybody or got a program. It'd be nice to know that the first floor is kind of has a nice warm smile to be received to, because we're still getting people from upstairs down, like, that's disjointed.
Okay, so we'll come back to that, I guess, will we? Pre-event?
Through you, Vice Chair, at our April 9th committee meeting, I'll work with the clerk's office to add that onto the, either before or after, the selection priority of that meeting. And then by then, I'll have done a lot more work, and then we can actually look, and then if there's another additional idea, or you don't think there's enough bump, that still gives us 5 or 6 weeks to add to the plan.
Okay, great.
please, because I'm on a team, don't leave me out. Because I know people look and say, oh, you have a problem, so you know, we won't bother you, but I know it's no other reason, but the thing is, I'm willing to help. I mean, that's what I do, so.
Put you in a chair with a stack of programs on your lap and.
Sure can do anything.
But through you, Vice Chair, this is where it gets thin, because you're up at the Citizen of the Year.
Oh, that's
Sarah,
right.
do you see what, that's where it gets,
Yeah,
but roles are not defined, by ability at all. Everybody is.
no, and I'm just saying, you know, don't back off because you think I might have a problem, but I have my issues, but I just continue on, so.
So there are 4 of us out of 6 who are not previous Citizens of the Year. Elena's not here today. But so we would lose 2 of you for the beginning volunteers to the upstairs. So if that's where your preference is to be, then as long as we know that, we won't include you in that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, any further discussion on the ceremony, how it goes? Anything that I've left out? Speak now.
Nope.
Okay. That's on the floor for discussion, and those have been noted in the minutes, and so that's the end of that.
Yes.
Well, it doesn't say that here. So could I have a motion to accept that for all those things for information, please? Excuse me.
I'll make a motion.
Joanne. Diane. All right, you stop laughing up there. I have some fun. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Carried. We have no informational items this meeting. And so unless there's anything else, unless anyone else has informational items,
No,
then may I have a motion to adjourn? Dan and Joanne. All in favor?
yes?